great event, and it's been a nice, warm, sunny day. The fact you're here with us says a lot, not on a beach or something like that. So I want to start off with introducing myself in a little bit. My name is Kokoros. I've worked as a pre-K preschool teacher for 15 years at the Transportation Children's Center in downtown Boston. It was started under Mike Kokoros' ravine about 30 years ago now, and it's for children of state employees in the community as well. I've also worked as an early childhood education professor here at UMass Boston, Fisher College, and Wesley University as well. I kind of had a meandering path in my time of early childhood education, so high school didn't do so well. I was not the best student in the world. I actually applied to UMass Boston and got rejected out of high school, so I'm not getting there initially. But I did get into a place called Bay State College in their early childhood education program. And when I was there, Linda Small, who was the program chair there at the time, mentored me, helped me become a better student. Eventually, from Bay State College, I did transfer to UMass Boston. I got my bachelor's degree from UMass, and I was able to transfer, go and get my master's at the Harvard Graduate School of Education. Then I came back to UMass for my postmaster's degree, and then I went to Wesley University. It's kind of my meandering path through education and early childhood. My start of advocacy actually started a lot earlier than that. As an advocate, I probably started when I was in early childhood, age 3 or 4. I was raised by a mom who was an immigrant, and she raised 3 children on her own, and she spoke English, but not great, and she wasn't able to read and write English, so me and my siblings had to be her advocates. We would go to town hall with her, and she would tell her what was going on in Greek, and we would translate and stuff like that. So from age, early childhood, I always had this idea of government is important and talking to people is important. So advocacy's been with me since I've been very young. So I'm going to talk a bit later about my kind of path advocacy, some of my lessons learned, and Amy's going to do that as well, share a little bit about her life.
Great, thank you. We usually have a tail, people leave after lunch, and that has not been the case. And maybe it's the cake keeping everyone. For Teddy and Amy show. This is the first time that Teddy and I have presented together, and I'm so excited. I have been coming to these since the first one, the first gathering of the Postmaster Certificate. I often speak at the policy class when it's offered. But I started my career in Boston in the 90s. I worked at Ellis Memorial, the south end of Boston, as a preschool teacher. And I was there for 3 years as a teacher, and I have to tell you, and he's going to get sick of hearing this, but someone that was in my first preschool class is here today. I was my preschool teacher. And I yelled, and I'm like, how's Emily, who was his best friend in preschool? And what did you say?
She's married and she's pregnant.
So, I was at Ellis as a teacher, and then I thought, how hard could it be to be a director? It looks pretty easy from where I'm sitting. It was not easy. As it often happened, our director left, and I was a good teacher and got promoted to be a director. I had to take an administrative course. I took it at Urban College, which was filled with people who were teachers and who were mad at the directors. And I was like, yeah, those directors, man. But I became a director when I was 26, and I had a BA in early education psychology, but I did not know about managing people. I was going from teaching with people to now supervising people. But at the time in Boston, we had infrastructure to help support directors. And we'll talk about this tension, which I'm hearing even now, being on the other side of this kind of newly becoming into leadership structural positions and seasoned leaders. And now I'm more towards the seasoned leaders, but this tension of how do we make room at the table for people who want to be involved in these discussions. So at the time in Boston, we had the inner city network of directors, which then became the network of early education. We had the Boston Child Care Alliance. We had structure. We had the 0 to 8 we had infrastructure in Boston to help support administrators, but also practitioners in the field. I became interested in advocacy as a director when it was now my job to enroll the 100 children in our program in preschool. And we had a child whose birthday was September 2nd. And what's the cutoff for BPS? So he was in a slot that was then for 3 and 4-year-olds. He was going to turn 5 on September 2nd. He couldn't, so he couldn't go to Boston Public Schools. So I called the state for some help and support as a new director, and I thought, well, they'll help me figure this out. And they said, what's his service need? Because our funding system is for children whose parents are in the workforce. Right? It's not about what does he need, it's what's the service need. He was being raised by his grandparents because his mom had died. His grandparents had both worked for the state and have retired, so they weren't working. They had raised their 3 adult children, they were now raising their grandchild and a foster child. And they said there's no service need. And I said, that's crazy. Who is making these rules? Has anyone who ever met a child trying to enroll a child based on the rules that you've created? And because of that infrastructure in Boston, we had the LEAP class, the Leadership Empowerment Action Project. I learned and got to practice advocacy as a director. As I became more interested in it, Margaret Blood, who is the founder of Strategies for Children, created Strategies for Children. And I had an informational interview with her when I graduated from college. So I wore my green power suit with shoulder pads, very popular in the 90s. And I met her at the State House. She had just started the Children's Legislative Caucus. And I met with her, and I wanted to get a job in early education. And she was a good resource. She helped me connect me to people. But then 10 years after that informational interview, she hired me at Strategies for Children. So you never know who you're talking to or where your life is going to end up. Because I never intended to be a lobbyist for early education, but that's what I am now. So I've been at Strategy since 2002, doing the work, coming at it from as an early educator. I got my master's in public administration at Suffolk because I waited to try to figure out where I wanted to be. But I decided that wherever I was going, I was going to be whoever was around me, early education advocates. And it was a really interesting experience because most people in that program were not early education advocates. I also I taught for Wheelock College since 2006, and now I'm merged with Boston University, so I've been watching that process. I also teach at Quinsigamond Community College in Worcester, where they have a leadership certificate. So you can take 5 courses, get a leadership certificate, and those courses can translate into your master's. So last night I went to Worcester State and watched 12 other cohort get their master's degree in early childhood education. And in my spare time, I decided to run for the president of the NAOIC governing board. And I won. So I served on the board from 2011 to 14 in an at-large capacity, and then got asked to run for president. And even when I was running, again, I tell you my resume so you can do the math and figure out that I'm not 25, even though somebody said I could be close, the photographer said I could be close to preschool teacher because I'm still 27. But when I was running for the board, people asked me, they said, oh, you're running for president? And I was trying to figure out where that was coming from. It was because they didn't think I was old enough to be president. And most of the presidents didn't look like me. So it was very interesting. We also talked about that tension with NAOIC as an organization that was founded in 1926, and what did the leadership look like? And then what would our field look like, and how to bring those two things together? And I went to Skidmore for my undergrad in psychology and early education. And so now I get to do advocacy. I used to say that my job is what I used to do during nap time, right? But now I have the luxury of where I sit. I'm not trying to run a program. I'm not in classrooms. I'm not having people call out sick. I'm not trying to, figure out how we're going to make payroll this week. So I want to be a resource for people who are doing that work every day to help. My personal mission is to get early educators to care about research, advocacy, practice, and policy, which is why I'm so happy to be here today with Teddy, because I think part of what this movement is happening at UMass is you are all part of that movement in so many different ways, and this doesn't exist in a lot of places. So know that where you are sitting today is part of the future and part of the now. So when we talk about, so we just told you our stories. You need to have your elevator pitch of your story. And you don't use words like, I'm just a teacher, or I am just an early educator. You think you come at it from a position of power. And
don't do that, we talked in the small group this morning about we have to help with the narrative. So you can change the world. All the skills, gifts, and talents that you use to support young children can be used from where you're sitting right now. You don't have to be in a structural leadership position. And the most important part is that you have to believe. I believe in the Red Sox. I believe in the 2004. Did not look good. But I used to say, what if we all believed in young children the way that we believe in the Red Sox and the Bruins and the Celtics and the Patriots? So my thing is, no matter what you talk to me about, I can bring it back to early education and care. So I challenge you to do that too. Whatever someone's talking about, figure some way to bring it back. But we have to be willing to think differently about the future. You might not have the same job. You might be working with different people. You might sit somewhere that doesn't feel comfortable, but we have to be thinking differently. So you are smart, powerful leaders for children and families. And sometimes it can feel like we don't feel that way. Because sometimes we don't treat ourselves that way and other people don't treat us. When I became the campaign director at Early Education for All, one of my first events was at the State House with the first lady at the time, who was Diane Patrick, and I was facilitating, kind of emceeing the event. And one of the leaders who had been working with us said to Margaret, "Hey, that Amy O is really smart." And everybody was like, "Isn't that great?" And I said, "No, he thought I was an idiot because I was a preschool teacher." Now, I didn't confirm this, is what I believe, but I think I'm right. But that has been what sticks in my stomach, which is why I have such passion for this work, because we are smart, powerful leaders. But people try to diminish what we do. I know a kid, I can do what you do, but we have to be part of changing that narrative. We need to learn and develop our skills. We need to stay current, which is what you're doing. We need mentors to show us the way. They need to invite us to the table, but they also need to get out of the table so that we can sit in those seats. And the most important part is that you have to believe.
Okay, so now I want you all to close your eyes for a second. I want you to pretend you're in like a preschool, toddler classroom, something like that. You have one child. They're sitting there. Their hands are in their lap. They have pretzel legs. They're sitting quietly. Next to that child, another child. They're saying, "Teacher, teacher!" yelling their name, raising their hand, making a lot of noise, touching stuff. Which of those children do you pay more attention to? The child who's sitting quietly, or the ones making all the noise trying to get your attention all the time? Who's getting your attention? The noisy one. The noisy kids that get your attention. And here's the thing. When it comes to policy and advocacy, a lot of times historically, unfortunately, we've been kind of that quiet child. And being that person's great in a lot of aspects of life. Unfortunately, when it comes to politics, if you're sitting there quietly and being polite, waiting for your turn to talk, no one's going to listen to you. There's a good chance no one's going to randomly find you and call you. Sometimes you need to go out of your way to kind of get your voice heard. So what I'm going to talk about is some of my experiences about how to do that and get to that point. So it's important to remember that the people in this field right here, in this room right here, you are the experts in early childhood education and care. So if you see the two screens over there, there's a picture on the bottom. Does anyone know who that person is in the bottom? Tammy Duckworth. Tammy Duckworth is a senator. She made history about a year and a half ago. She became the first senator in United States history to give birth while in office. Just think about that. The United States is about 242 years old. There's been thousands of senators alive, dead. First one in history to give birth while in office. And here's why that's important. If you have a child, you're thinking about children. You're thinking about childcare, what do you need to eat, who's going to take care of them. That's a visceral part of your everyday life. The picture above is a picture of the current Senate and Congress and all that. Now, on average, a senator or a congressman in the State House in Washington, D.C., they're usually older, they're usually white, and they're usually male. They're in the 60s and 70s throughout history. Now, that doesn't automatically mean they're bad people. Some few might be, but that's not meaning a lot of them are pretty good people, they're great people, they're doing the best for the people in society. But their day-to-day life is not thinking about children and child care. Where I work at the Transportation Children's Center, we recently opened an infant room. As part of that infant room, we got a mother's room. And one of the women who works upstairs in the office building, she came down and she was so happy that she can enroll her child there, and there was a mother's room there, because she was so worried about breastfeeding, pumping and all that, what she could be able to do it, how she can make it all work. If you're a 65-year-old man in the Senate, you're not thinking about mother's rooms. Just not because you're a bad person, you're probably not in your everyday life, it's not what's going in your head. You're not thinking about what's happening in the child care center. It's just not what's coming in your head every single day. There's so many things coming at you, it's probably not in your immediate mind. So we need to make sure that the people who we elect kind of reflect the diversity that are in the field in their actual culture to make sure those voices are getting heard. And when we, along with that, also making sure that we're letting everybody who's in office, whether it's your local town hall, city hall, state government, or federal government, hearing our voices and hearing our stories. So one of the things I hear about politics is, I don't like politics. It's not for me. It's not something I want to get into. Everything is politics. Blocks is politics. So raise your hand if it's a good idea that kids play with blocks. Raise your hand. Who agrees with that? The blocks in that picture, those cheap? No. They are very, very expensive. So if you're someone raising a child, getting it, unless you're wealthy, getting a nice set of blocks to make a huge tower like that, it's very expensive. You can't afford it. So say I'll send my child to a child care or a preschool or an education center or something like that, then they'll get to play with blocks. Who gets to go there? Who gets to play with for it? Is there a voucher to help you get there? How many people are on the voucher wait list right now? It's thousands. Where's that funding going to come from? So which children get to play with blocks and get that great experience, being able to build something and build that confidence and social emotional skills as they're playing, working with their friends, is based on politics. So if you stay out of politics, that is still a political choice. You're always involved in politics whether we like it or not. It's the way society functions. And what we do affects who gets to play with blocks, who gets to have quality experiences in early childhood education. So one of the things we need to think about is that your experiences matter just as much as the data. There's a lot of great data that supports our case. Who's ever heard of James Heckman before? Everyone James Heckman? So James Heckman's done a lot of research about economic research for early childhood education that found that early childhood investment is pretty much the best investment you can make in return on investment. Another economist, Arthur Bolnack, found something similar. The Harvard Center for Developing Child, Jack Shonkoff, and then in his talks, he'll tell you all about the neurological research about how the brain develops and how birth through 5 is the most important time of your life. The research is on our side, but the research is not all we have. We also have our stories, and we make our stories get out there. Because the most important things in the world aren't always on the news of what's being talked about. If you throw on cable or TV news, you get a paper or go online, someone will say, like, today the gross domestic product rose from 2.6% to 2.8%. Great. But when we think about our quality of our lives and what we actually care about, and what's actually important for children and families, it's not about the gross domestic product. It's about are children able to play together and learn how to build quality relationships? There were some kids in my class playing with blocks a few days ago, and they were building a huge block tower. They were there for 45 minutes, just using every one last block, building a huge tower. And at the end, they erupted with joy, and they called me over, and look what we did, look what we did. And they asked me to take a picture with an iPad. I took the picture. I sent it home to their parents. So those kids were able to work together, social emotional skills, that's STEM skills, logic, engineering, while they're doing that. That's not going to make the news. It's not to say, breaking news, more kids are able to play with blocks today. That's not going to happen, but it probably should happen. We're going to hear things about, like, oh, the stock market was like this today. It rose 100 points, went down 100 points. Is that how we want to value society, what we should think politicians care about? Or should it be, how much quality time do we spend with children and their families? Are they able to make friends? Can they walk to school safely? Can they have a safe environment to breathe and develop the right way? There's no lead in their water or things like that. Those are the ways we can kind of measure quality of life. And we need to make sure that the media, policymakers, politicians, even our day-to-day friends and family, that we're talking about that type of stuff and not just whatever controversy happens to happen in any level of government at any given moment. So how to get politically involved? So I'm going to talk about a few different ways, and these are mostly based on my own experience and readings. It's nothing like an official statement, just what I have learned in my time. So about soft power, direct advocacy, shaping your party's platform,